Hi friends, in this video I'm giving you my 5 tips for taking commission sewing work for beginners. So if you are thinking about taking your first commission, you're not really sure what to do, how much to charge, how to go about it, or even if you've already taken a few commissions but you're thinking about taking some bigger projects, this video is for you. And forgot to mention this, but quick disclaimer, I am not currently taking commission work, so yeah, please don't ask. Without further ado, let's jump into it. My tip number 1, talk about money immediately. And I mean immediately. Someone messages you on Instagram and they say, hey, can you sew me an 1860s ball gown? And you think about it, you decide, okay, I want to think about taking this commission. And you respond something like, sure. Custom ball gowns range from $900 to $1,200 or whatever it is. What kind of design did you have in mind? So as soon as possible, if you can throw numbers out there, if you have either an estimation for the entire project or if you're completely unsure of how many hours that project will take, then you could just give them an hourly rate, but you need to give them some sort of numbers because you don't want to be talking to someone for 2 weeks looking at fabric and patterns and sending them sketches, and then they say, oh, by the way, I only have $200 for this project, and it's like a 50-hour project. So you can avoid that by bringing up the topic of money as soon as possible. My tip number 2 is get a down payment, and this can be anywhere from just covering materials cost all the way up to like half of your entire commission price. I actually recommend doing half. I think that's standard practice for a lot of larger companies that do custom and bespoke sewing work, but some kind of down payment you need to have before you start any work on the garment, before you draft a pattern, before you buy any materials, before you actually do any stitching. You should have a down payment because that will guarantee that your client wants this project done now, because some people will message you, they'll say, sure, I'll pay you however much, but they actually meant in a year or when I get paid, and that has not happened yet. So by getting a down payment before you start, you're guaranteeing that your customer wants this being done and they're actually serious about paying you for it. So for a small project, if it's an hour, 2, 3 hours, you don't really need to do that. But if it's a big project and you're gonna spend a significant chunk of time on it, you need to get a down payment as kind of a safety blanket to make sure that they're serious, and also that if the person somehow flakes out in the middle, you're not completely out the time and money. So getting a down payment will really help you cover your ass, as it were. Tip number 3 is charge a good hourly rate. And personally, I think that your hourly rate should be significantly above the whatever is considered a living wage where you live, but definitely, please, 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 please do not charge less than a living wage as your hourly rate. You deserve to be paid for your work. Your work is worth money. Your time, your effort, and your skill is worth money, and you should be paid as such. You do not need to lower your prices to make it more accessible to people. Custom and bespoke clothing has never been accessible to the working class, and sadly, it might never be, just because of the sheer number of hours, if you think about it, that has to go into a custom or bespoke piece. Charge a wage that you could live off of if you were living by yourself and working pretty much full time. And then for overall pricing, you can charge hourly plus materials. You can also add fitting charges if that applies. You can add shipping charges if that applies. My tip number 4, on a similar note, don't take projects that you're not 98% confident that you can do well and in a timely manner. Because if you get a project but you don't really know how to do it, and then you spend a bunch of hours sitting around wondering what to do or messing up and having to redo things, it feels a little weird to charge a high hourly rate for that. And also it's a waste of your own time and effort and stress. So only take commissions that you feel pretty comfortable and confident that you can deliver on. I took a commission where I was working with velvet, and I had never worked with velvet before. Luckily for me, it went pretty well, but in the future I would definitely stay away from materials that I have never worked with before. And I mean, some things, if it's a fabric that's similar to something you've worked with before but just more expensive and that's what your client wants to pay for, maybe that's fine. But something completely new like velvet has its own properties and its own way that you have to work with it. I'm not saying you can only take projects that you have done before, because of course a lot of sewing projects are just kind of a compilation of different skills that you've already used. But if someone approached me and asked me to sew an 1880s like bustle gown, I would say no, because I've never done that before. Even though I would totally tackle that as a project for myself, skill-wise, there's a different bar for a project that you would do for yourself versus a project you do for someone else. At least for me. I feel like when I'm doing a project for myself, I can be pushing my skills, I can be trying completely new techniques and new things. If it's for someone else, I would rather be more squarely in my comfort zone. We can put it that way. So this might not be something that you want to do, but I think it's at least worth thinking about that there might be a different line for things to do for yourself and things to do for someone else. Because what you don't want to be doing is doing work that you don't really feel happy about and it was really stressful because you didn't really know what you were doing, and then you underbill or you overbill. It's not really overbilling, it's just, to me it feels odd to charge for something that I didn't really feel like I knew what I was doing. So yeah, something to think about. Last tip, tip number 5, charge everyone the same. And there was an article on Foundations Revealed, I think by Kathy Hay, that mentioned this, but charge your friends and your family like you would charge anyone else. Now, if you're doing something for someone as a gift, that's one thing, but if it is truly a commission piece, your sister-in-law, your great aunt, your friend from college, they are not worth you lowering your hourly rate to $10 below what you would normally do. If anything, you're going to put more time and effort into their project, not less, so you should charge them the same as everyone else. It might feel really awkward to you to ask for money from someone who you know really well, especially like that down payment, or to just throw out numbers of money. It might feel weird. I promise it's not. It's standard practice, and a lot of these things are kind of to cover your ass. If you know someone well, you know that they know how much time and effort goes into things. They're probably not going to screw you over. Like, even if you didn't get a down payment, they probably will pay you in the end if you've talked about it. They understand what's going on, but I would still do it as standard practice just to get used to it. Treat your friends and family like you would treat anyone else when it comes to commission work. That is all that I have for you today. I hope this was helpful and this gave you the confidence to take commission work and to do it in a way that you will not regret later. And yeah, I hope you have a nice day. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. And yeah, have a nice day. Okay, bye. And this is sewing specific. Clearly, this is my channel about sewing things. But yeah.